boatload of people.
Yeah,
But
that would work.
it's possible, right? It could happen. So we'll call it open panel today. How about that?
Okay.
I mean, I want to do it, uh, with a little bit of a. I want it. There are certain people that I would like to get on here who I think really need to be exposed to this. But then we're getting into the realm of ego with guys like that, guys that have
Well,
over.
yeah, but there's proof. This isn't a religion, it's the law. So like if someone wants to come in, so we're talking about people that are claiming things like removing themselves from the corporation and because the government is a corporation, that means it's not legitimate and stuff like that. Like a lot of the things that the government does is illegitimate. Yes. Like all these illegal wars and all the war on its own people, the drug war and the CPS and all the permits and all the crap that you have to do that honestly it prevents people from doing things. But then again, some people have to be prevented because
Well, I take up your sword that has writ upon it, earn and deserve your freedom.
right.
If you're not smart enough or brave enough to stand up for your rights, then there's a cage waiting for you. It may be an actual cage or it may just be literal. It may just be imprisoned in your mind, which most Americans definitely are, man.
Oh yeah.
Like uh, I'm free, you're free. Why are we free? We're free because we believe it. We're free because we can prove it. We're free because we can make it real. We can make it real. Speaking of freedom, I just got done planting my garden 2 days ago, and yesterday we got enough rain that stuff started coming up. Guess what came up first that just was made legal in my state in October? My
Weed.
marijuana plants. Yep. They're the very first thing that sprouted, of course.
Of course, it wasn't made legal because it was never
It, right.
truly illegal in the first place.
Right. But we
You
had.
always have the right to your freedom of religion. You always have the right to be secure in your person or your property unless they have a warrant to seize something or search something.
Or
And they can
search
only get
us.
that with an injured complainant. So with marijuana, who's the injured complainant? There is no injured complainant. And this is the same with like most traffic laws and like most things. Anytime the state prosecutes crimes, right? But when it's the state that is pretending to be the victim, then yeah, that's all illegitimate.
Right.
And that's
All those proceedings are, as you say, illegitimate and, in fact,
no,
illegal. They're crimes against the people.
yeah, contempt of court for one thing. Violating your rights in court is certainly contempt. Uh, how'd they get you there in the first place? Probably kidnapped you, right?
Right, which is a
And
crime. That's a
and
capital crime.
yeah, and because when you don't have a warrant, then dude, it's honestly it's just some guy's word. Oh, I had the right to kidnap him. It's like, dude,
Yeah, no,
judges
you
that are
don't. Yeah.
elected determine that. They determine probable cause. I was just watching a Carolina and Fort Worth video, and these people are so completely lost. Every word they say is gibberish. She's like, "Will the cop be smart enough to come up and make a good decision?" Like, what, lady? That's not how it works. The
No.
cop doesn't make decisions. This kid is just a high school graduate. He's just a
He,
he's the
he,
lowest rung of like just basic society. Like other people have went to trade schools for and studied a thing, or they went to colleges, or they went to like come on. This guy just got out of high school and now he's out here needing to make decisions? No. No, 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 no. See, and that's a fundamental flaw that all of these auditing channels have that you need to educate the cops. You
yeah,
don't need
you
they don't
cannot. They're idiots. They cannot be educated. They're. It's
and
not
they
that
have
they're
no
ignorant.
authority.
Yeah, they're stupid, and their authority is assumed. It's not
Right.
real.
Right.
It's something that they've been beaten with a stick in pig school, any academy or post, or their criminal justice training at community college that you don't even have to have any academic achievements ever in your life to go do except graduating from high school. That's it.
Well,
They're
actually, there's one requirement that you cannot proceed in the legal studies unless you are willing to take part in these crimes. And that's what it is to be a cop, and that's what it is to be a lawyer, and that's what it is to be, honestly, a doctor or a teacher, any of these socialists. A soldier, you have to that's the number one thing. You have to be willing to commit crimes that they're just going to tell you, oh, that kid wants to say something. Well, we're not going to let him do that. He doesn't have a freedom of speech, right? And so we're going to stop him however we're going to do it, right?
Yeah,
And you got to go along with that. Otherwise, you're out, bud. That's the only requirement for any of these socialist jobs is that you will collaborate.
you will collaborate, or you won't be in the club. You'll just be one of the people that pays the bills.
Well, yeah, that's the people that get fired. Really, is the, you know, Christians essentially.
People that are moral.
Well, yeah,
you
to
ha-
me,
if you
that's
have
the same word.
Right, if you have,
There's
if
no
you ha-
reason to be moral unless God.
Oh, Mikey, why you gotta leave, man? Yeah, you have to be moral, and if you're moral, then you're certainly living by at least several of the Noahide laws, or Abrahamic law, or whatever you want to call it. The edicts handed down from the Creator, apparently. But they're
Anytime
all
you try and create your own truth, you're just gonna fucking do some weird cult shit. That's all you're gonna do. Whenever you
Yeah.
try and create your own truth, that's all it's ever gonna be. Is you're just gonna, honestly, it's just gonna be some dirtbag shit. It will
Yeah.
every time.
Yeah, I don't
So,
understand how. I mean, we're as human beings, we're very gullible in the first place. We're prone to believe in things that are not true. Because I don't know why. Maybe it's because we have an imagination. Our imaginations run away with us, and that's how all this fiction gets created. Even though some of it's entertaining, it's not a religion. Like, oh my God, L. Ron Hubbard and his Scientology. It's a really good science fiction story, but as a religion, it's fucking nonsense. And all those people do is commit crimes against people's individual freedom and liberties, constantly. But
if you consent,
if you consent, then you don't have any of my fucking sympathy. I really do. I appreciate the dude who he was filming robots for a while. I can't remember his name, but he's filmed the police in L.A. and then he filmed Scientologists. I have a lot of respect for what he does because he actually, is trying to save people from that pit that they're trying to slide them into there on Hollywood Boulevard. And that's a righteous thing because those people are guilty of, that organization is guilty of multitudinous crimes against humanity, not just
well,
against
aren't
Americans.
they looking for David Miscavige's wife? And she hasn't been seen in like 5 years or something like that.
Man, they've been looking for her and for him as well. And I don't know any of the details about that. I just hear them talking about it in passing on his channel. He's ranking these
Right.
people. He's ranking these robots on the street. But look, L. Ron Hubbard was good friends with, and what was the guy's name that wrote the Bond books?
Ian Fleming.
Ian Fleming,
And then there was JPL, and then there was Walt Disney, and then it's this weird Nazi club. Nazi rocketry is what started it. Nazis with the rockets, Werner von Braun, and
Yep.
Armageddon
Operation-
and stuff. The book
Operation
Armageddon.
Paperclip personnel
Right.
that we took, from, or that, here's how I like to paraphrase World War II. We slew that particular dragon, but we brought the eggs home and hatched them, and now they're in charge.
Well, the whole thing was a ploy for government funding to create a military-industrial complex. Businessmen started looking around. They're like, "Hey, if we put this country on a track to war, then we'll be able to sell bullets all day long, every day, as much as we want."
Yep.
We don't even have to do fair market value or any of that crap. We're only going to sell to the government, and we're going to get these contracts because we're going to keep paying people in the government to give us these contracts, over and over again. So
Right. We give them the backsheesh, man. We give them the bribes, but we'll call them gifts or lobby money or whatever. This is one of the biggest problems with our government is this outside corporate money going to our quote unquote representatives who are really, they're just power tools used by these corporate heads, Boeing, Raytheon. There's a list. These are the people that Eisenhower warned us about before me and you were even born. He tried to warn the American people because he saw it coming. He knew that it was already happening, and there was nothing he could do about it.
What about all these warnings? And now, if some kid goes and joins the army, then people thank him for his service. Everyone knows that this shit is a total scam. Everyone knows that he's not serving us at all in Afghanistan or any of the. We don't even know where we're at war these days. All it is crime. It's not war because it's not declared by Congress.
Yeah, our military has
just the most dishonorable, most scumbaggish, oath-breaking bunch of bullshit you could ever imagine in your life, and people are out here like, "Thank you for your service."
Yeah, when people say that to me, when I mention that I was in the military, blah blah blah, I say, look, man, I wasn't handing out hot dogs to people that got hot dogs and water to people that got wiped out by a hurricane. I was serving up hot liquid death and missiles, on people I didn't even see.
Yeah, the most horrific shit you can imagine, and you didn't know these people. Honestly, they weren't guilty of anything, probably.
Most of them
can't trust these people to tell us the truth about anything. It's nonsense.
We can't.
Why would you trust a stranger anyway? If a stranger comes to your door, do you trust them?
No.
So why is it that when they get on your TV, then now, I can trust that person. He said arguable or fruggable suspicion of a kiss or a cuddle. That means that's the law. Like, dude, how stupid can you be?
Right. I mean, how gullible.
You
how
honestly
gullible
think the Supreme Court found the Fourth Amendment to be unconstitutional? That's what these people believe.
Yeah.
Which, how does that even make sense? It's based off of what the Fourth Amendment says, whether it's constitutional or not. So how can the Fourth Amendment be found to be unconstitutional? It can't.
Yeah,
it's
it can
total
only be
gibberish.
Right. It's awful gibberish, as Hunter Thompson would have said, and it's nonsense. Okay, we got 4 people in the room, and I just want to tell you guys, you're welcome to hop on in. Just follow that link to StreamYard, set yourself up a real quick account, and hop on if you want. Today is open panel discussion. Version, I don't know, 2 or 3 or whatever. I mean, we've had several of them. But I will say that, at least a portion of the American people are waking up somewhat. We just
bullshit,
need to,
man. Not one auditor's doing it right.
No,
not one.
Yep. No.
Okay. Have you ever heard the saying, "Perfect practice makes perfect"?
Yeah.
That's what it is. So
right.
Yeah, you guys can practice all this fucking bullshit, but it's just making you dumber and worse.
Well, it's a self-deceptive thing, and it's like I've said before. It's you're marching off on a suicidal crusade, and at the end of it, the birds are gonna pick your fucking bones clean because you went to battle with people who have weapons without weapons of your own. You're trying to use their weapons against them, but first you got to get them away from them, and you can't get the weapons out of the hands of the enemy without using your Constitution against them. You're absolutely
not asking questions. What crime? What crime? What crime? What crime?
No, there is no negotiation.
Dude, that is not anything. You're not invoking your rights. You're not giving a lawful order. You're not doing anything. You're not doing anything, bro. What crime? What crime? What crime? What crime? And then it starts citing state law. Oh, and then the identification law is this state law. Here, let me show you what the state law is on identification.
Yeah, this is not a stop and ID state. Guess what? The whole country is no stop and identify. No, they don't have the right to do that without a warrant. No, they cannot seize you without a warrant. Hello, Fourth Amendment. But nobody, they're arguing, like we've said before, They're arguing about policies and case precedent and statute and blah, 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 blah. Raz is not a thing.
No.
Reasonable is having a warrant.
Yes.
You have to have a good reason, and a reasonable judge has to judge that reason and make an opinion and a ruling right there on the spot, whether he's going to sign it or not. And that's all that judges can do. They make opinions, decisions, and rulings. That's all. They don't make policy. That's the executive branch. They don't make law. That's the legislative branch. The pigs don't get to make up anything. They exist to serve warrants and apprehend criminals with complainants. Correct?
Yeah.
They don't exist to harass the dude eating tacos in the parking lot at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Oh, we need to find out what you're doing, or we were just asking some questions or something.
Yeah, we don't
It's
know
like-
you. We need to find out who you are.
Right. Here's the problem. Even if you find out who I am, you're not qualified to make any legal determination anyway.
Not
even
at all.
If even if you figure out this or that, if I answer some question wrong, if I admit to having weed or some shit like that, you don't know if that's a crime. You can't. You're not legally educated in this stuff. So you're just a high school kid. Dude, you get a piece of paper. It tells you what to do. You're too dumb for anything else. I mean, come on. Why is that even... I mean, in what world do you just like show up and you're just like the top of it all, and you start telling people what to do, and like, dude, you're like 19 years old. Who told you that you know what I should be doing? Like, what are you on?
Right. Right.
It's so weird how they've illegalized marijuana and drugs and stuff, but it's like these people act like they're on drugs. That's their baseline. And they pee in cups to prove to daddy that they should be trusted or some shit like that. And so, that means
Yeah, but do they? Do they actually listen, man? These cops, they're busted so often for selling drugs and doing drugs and having illegal possession of drugs that testing of police for drugs and steroids, because they're our employees, as far as I'm concerned, they should be taking a fucking drug test every 2 weeks. They should be fucking sober and in their right minds when they're on duty. And you can't use drugs when you're off
here's the
duty and be
thing.
sane when you're on duty. That's just not ever going to happen.
Here's the thing. Either the person's following a warrant or he's not.
Correct.
It doesn't
That's
matter
correct.
if he's on drugs. It doesn't matter anything. Nothing matters because he doesn't make any choices.
Right. He has a straight line
It's
approach to
written
his
down.
job. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's written down. Like, dude, this is what you do. Now, it's the American people that just allow these morons to do whatever they want. They even think they should educate the cops. Dude,
Yeah,
cops
you
don't make
can't-
decisions, so don't
No.
educate them. They do not make decisions. So all you're doing is showing how fucking dumb you are by thinking that you educate this bottom rung idiot over here.
Yeah, you're trying to teach a net how to hold water when you're trying to teach a cop how to fucking you try to teach a cop anything outside of his narrow little band of existence and understanding. He can't, because he's a moron. If he wasn't a complete fucking useless moron, he wouldn't choose to be a pig in the first place.
Yeah,
he would
have
do
a real job.
Yeah,
wouldn't
he
be a
would-
socialist at all. He wouldn't be a teacher. He wouldn't be a military. He wouldn't. None of that crap. Because when you have options, then you don't choose to go and be a socialist servant. You choose to take care of yourself and be a real man. But when you have no choices, and that's why so many women are involved in this stuff, because
Well, they're not good looking enough to hijack a successful man's life, so they become cops. Or they're so stupid that they can't figure out how to hijack a successful man's life and live in that as a
well,
parasite.
I think people are starting to learn about women having rights. Guess where they get all their rights? From us.
Sure.
That's we pay all their shit and we take care of all their life.
We enable them. We enable
Houses,
them. We are enablers.
Food, everything, you name it. And then all they do is they sit around and trade makeup and like pretend like that's a real job, or they stand at the checkout lanes at Home Depot, and there's like 10 women standing there pointing you to which checkout lane to go to. Go to that self-checkout lane. Go to that self-checkout lane because they can't do anything else. Basically, every time a woman is on the clock, it's because she's stealing the value that some man is providing in the back because he's actually doing something back there, right? And then these women are just standing around like, go to that self-checkout line. It's like, it's every time I go into Home Depot, it's like that. I'm just like, guys, stop pretending like these women are working. They're not contributing, and all of their rights just deprive us of our rights, and that's not how our framers set it up. All men are created equal. Women are subservient to us through God, and that's just how it is. Like, I know, nobody likes it these days because they told you what to think, and it doesn't work. It hasn't worked out at all. I personally don't let women, in my house or any of that stuff because I just...
Well, I learned...
What's the benefit?
Yeah,
they're just there to leech off you, and then they're going to make every bad decision known to man. Like, for instance, you ever see these audits where, like, they'll be in a car maybe, get pulled over, and the guy's like, oh, I'm not giving you ID unless, I'm suspected of a crime. That's what they like to say. But anyways, the woman is always just like, just give it to him, just give it to him. Or
just
comply. Actually tell the cop his name.
Yeah. It's
women
they're
have no
man.
responsibility for anything. When they lead us into wars with all their voting, they're not going to be in the wars. When they lead us into depression from all of their nonsense, they're not going to be the ones starving. Dude, guarantee it's going to be the people that actually work, guaranteed. It always is going to be like the men that actually suffer the consequences of these horrible social policies that have been enacted since women became voters. And why does this happen? It's because the Milgram experiments that 50% of men will straight up take part in a murder for no reason at all, just based on authority. And then it's 2/3 of women will straight up take part in a murder. Pull the switch, actually.
Yeah,
and so
we're in a sad state of affairs.
When it's when the stakes are lower than that, stealing a candy bar or something, I mean, we're talking it shoots right up to 95% on probably both sides. It's just so bad at that point. Well, maybe not that big for men, but, the lower the stakes, that rate is going to go up a little bit. I don't know how much. But the point is, like, these, this whole thing of voting, people are getting ready to vote for Trump, I think. I think that's what they're setting up here. So that he can just like declare some sort of I don't know, new way or something, right? So that he can come in and sweeping policies, more socialist dollars, right? And it's always the conservative that does the big government enlargement. It's always Bush did it, and then Clinton was actually kind of conservative in his. And then
compared to Dumya, he was absolutely conservative, man. And everybody says, but he voted for NAFTA. He didn't vote for NAFTA. He had to implement NAFTA. He didn't have a choice because Bush had the fucking Congress and the legislature voted into law. There was a certain amount of time where it had to be signed into law, and he was pressured from all kinds of different directions to sign it. He said himself, I don't
really know what NAFTA has changed.
Well,
it hasn't changed anything for me, but it's probably changed things for like shipping companies or something like that.
For production, this is what allowed all the production to go overseas to China. It was the beginning of it. It was the beginning of the rise of the World Trade Organization. They'd been around for a while, but they ascended. They flew to new heights on the NAFTA draft. They drafted behind NAFTA, and they got a lot of things that they wanted. Look, right, like, I don't know what these guys are thinking because I don't see any comments going up, but, American men have been brainwashed into thinking that women are okay to be in charge. And I want to tell you guys something from my experience when I was in the plumbers union and working on big projects like hydroelectric and stormwater drain systems and the pipeline up in Alaska and hospitals and wastewater treatment plants. Probably 1% of the workforce in any trade, because all the trades work on those different things, unless it's like underground stuff. But then again, we have heavy equipment operators, and we have steel workers involved in that, because they got to, whatever we can't do after a certain size, they contract in to do some of that work because we're not really qualified to do it as plumbers. 1% maybe were women, and maybe 50% of that 1% actually did any physical labor. Okay, actually did any skilled work. They were in the supply huts, or they were making coffee, or bringing supplies out to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's everywhere.
Everywhere
you go,
exactly.
there are a whole bunch of women in these buildings working. I mean, they're essentially they're getting all of their paycheck from what the men are doing.
Right, they're clerks. They're clerks. They're just like the women that you're talking about at Home Depot. They're just desk clerks. That's all they are. They're secretaries. They're clerks. And what do clerks do? They shuffle papers around. And Jeff says, here, let me see. How do I get him up here again? There we go. Far too emotional. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's part of the problem. The other part of the problem is women are smaller, and they're not as tough as we are, and they're not as strong.
And they have smaller brains, and everything about them is, I mean, think about it. If a human is good, then isn't a bigger human what?
Yeah,
right?
better. That has a bigger brain.
It's just obvious. I mean, you never find a woman that's like really pushing something like teaching something new or any of that stuff. If you honestly, any YouTube video you go to, it's like if you want to hear some nonsense, just go listen to any woman basically speak on any topic.
Yeah,
it's like, how can you respect these people enough to let them like vote and shit? That is ludicrous. I mean, ludicrous. Dude, we can't even talk to our own wives. Our own wives are so annoying that we'll literally go and hang out with the guys because they're just annoying, and it's like
look, here's
want to trust them with anything? Like what? They only have parental situation over kids because it's an easy thing to tell a woman to do, and she can just do it every day. So you don't have to keep telling her what to do. That's the only reason. It's not that they're good at raising kids either.
Yeah, and I would love to see some. No, they're really not. I will say this. Even though I didn't like my mother very much, I loved her, and she did do a lot of good things for me when I was a kid. She taught me how to write. She taught me my ABCs and my 1, 2, 3. She taught me basic math, and she taught me how to write all the way up to writing in cursive. And she taught me how to use commas, basic rules of writing in English. But she also taught me a lot of art, which made me a more well-rounded person. She taught me how to garden. She taught me how to take care of the chickens. And she taught me how to do things. She was a useful woman, even though I didn't agree with a lot of her beliefs, and she was actually quite a jerk to me when after I got past the age of cuteness. Once you start becoming an independent person, most parents, they're taken aback, especially if they don't have kids that are older than you. They're like, "Oh my God, what happened?" But we see a trend, and maybe it's just because everything gets broadcast these days on the internet, of these women killing their children when they're very young. Maybe that's been going on forever, and we just didn't know about it. But I would love to see a study on the percentage of how many women who are mothers kill their children compared to how many men who are fathers that kill their children. I'm going to bet that the women do it far more often than the men.
Here's the thing
far
about
more
numbers.
Often.
The first thing that they're going to teach you in college statistics is going to be, do not trust other people's numbers.
Right, you gotta have the data yourself. You have to have you got to get the data yourself, man.
Yeah,
and
it's
how
all
are
about
we
who's
gonna
counting it and who's doing this. It's just like how the cops are like, oh, this number of crimes are committed by these people. Oh yeah, where's the percentage for the crimes committed by cops?
Right,
because that is like basically every call that they go on. So
they commit some kind of crime. This is my new thing with watching these auditors is counting how many crimes the pigs commit against them.
Yep. There you go.
Before the pigs walk away or before the pigs arrest them. which is which is a capital offense because it's kidnapping by an armed person
Yeah.
of a
Under
free
color of
citizen
law.
under color of law. Right,
And
it's
there's
treason.
no warrant, so we're
Right.
sure that it's not legitimate. We're
Yep.
sure of that because there's no warrant.
Right. The Fourth Amendment says they have to have a warrant to seize person, effects, or property. And that is what keeps us secure. They have to have that paper. And that paper has to be signed by who? A judge who makes an opinion, a decision, a ruling on that pig's evidence.
No.
Show me the evidence.
No,
right?
no,
Well, no,
not-
to
on
sign the warrant.
On the complainant's sworn statement of damages.
Okay, only
The
with
cop
the complainant.
goes around
yeah.
and collects this shit. He doesn't provide anything. Like, people have got it in their heads that cops are some sort of witnesses or some shit because they always put them on the stand. But the truth is, they're not witnesses at all, really, because they're all traitors and stuff anyway. So,
Right.
like, anyone could impugn any cop if you just want to, you know.
Yeah,
So
and
it's all
arrest
about
them.
that
Yeah.
injured complainant. The cop is not an injured complainant, and he never will be. The government is not a victim. They're doing just fine with all of our victimization. Like 50 million drug crimes, right, where the government claimed to be a victim. But, gosh, they're just doing fine, aren't they?
Yeah, it's working out really well. Ask all the people that are, strung out on dope that's coming across the border by the ton probably every day because
Well,
somebody.
who cares about that? That's a thing they told you to worry about. Honestly, the border should just be open. The problem
Yeah,
is the socialism, because
right,
now
so
they
that-
get here, and then we're going to start giving them money or whatever
Right,
it is.
I was going to get to that. That the whole the border is an opportunity for it's basically an opportunity for the government to extort criminals that want to come in, that want to bring drugs. That's a way that they can extort them coming in. It's socialist criminality at its finest. When the DEA or who the fuck ever is selling drugs to the American people or allowing them to come in, that's socialist crime of the highest order, beyond violating everybody's rights every single day on the back of these morons with badges and guns who don't know shit about the Constitution. If anybody anywhere can provide me with one cop that can name all 5 elements of the First Amendment, I would shit a brick.
It's irrelevant because he doesn't sign warrants. Cops don't need to know anything. That's why they don't. The thing is that the American people, if you want to pretend like you're an adult and that you shouldn't be thrown in a cage, then you're going to need to be the one that knows that they need a warrant.
Yeah.
And everyone in America has failed at this for 50 years. Every single time someone gets pulled over, they fail their citizenship test. And the cop's like, okay, I got you stopped here.
Yeah, you don't
should be
deserve
like,
to be.
no, you've
Yeah.
got me seized. No,
Yeah, you've got me seized.
Not stopped at all. There is no stopped. There's seized. It's in the Fourth Amendment. I've read the law. All these people are like, I know the law, and then they don't even quote one fucking law. They'll quote state laws or things that don't apply. It's like, dude, you
they
don't
quote
know the law
decisions.
clearly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they-
case precedent. That's the worst. I mean, that's just so lacking in understanding. You're so lost if you quote case precedent. I mean, you totally don't get it at all. And that's why you're going to get thrown in a cage. These people are like, oh, the cops are always violating people's rights. But it's like, dude, come on. You don't even realize that they need a warrant. Neither of you do. The cop doesn't know that, and you don't know that. So,
Yeah.
of course, it's going to be a shit show of morons bumping into each other. Oh, what else would it be? You're Ameritards. Like, what the fuck? Man, I'm not impressed with my people. It seems like my people are basically the dumbest people to ever live. As far as I can tell, every person I run into is completely lacking any understanding of basically any topic. Hopefully, they're a carpenter or something and know carpentry. At least. But
Yeah, I'm a plumber, and I understand. I understand that water flows downhill. That's the base premise of being a plumber. Water will find its own level. 2, it will always run downhill, seeking that level. Seeking its own level is what running downhill is dependent upon. Without seeking its own level, running downhill doesn't even exist. I understand that. A carpenter understands that wood is flammable. And that if he cuts it too short, he can't stretch it. He's got to measure it perfectly and cut it perfectly, or cut it a little bit big and whittle it down from there. But a lot of people, it's
Well, let me tell you, if carpenters did their job as well as these cops and judges are doing theirs, then we'd all be fucking homeless.
yeah, we'd all be or dead because
We'd
the
all be
house
dead.
collapsed. Yeah, because either way, our way of life would be a lot different if carpenters didn't know what the fuck they were doing, because houses would fall down, giant buildings would fall down because carpenters build those too, just a different kind of carpentry. They use metal. It's and concrete. It's still carpentry. Basically, anytime you build anything, there are elements of carpentry in there, because carpentry was one of the very first things that we learned. How to work wood, making a
Yeah.
spear and putting it in sharpening the end of a stick and figuring out that putting it in the fire made it tougher. You fire it for a little while, it makes it tougher. That was the beginning of carpentry. And we just got better at it from there. You know,
Well, yeah, people that have real jobs get better at things, but people that don't have real jobs at all, they tend to just fuck things up and just make it worse. But the American people are just as bad. It's like, dude, how are you gonna come out here and pretend that you know the law, and your whole tool bag is what law, what law, what law? Oh, case law precedent, case law precedent, case law.
RAS.
The-
Where's the RAS? Where's the
RAS,
reasonable
where's the
articulable
RAS?
suspicion? Yeah,
Yeah,
not where's
what-
the warrant? Not show me the warrant. It all comes down to show me the fucking warrant.
Yeah.
It comes
and
down
then
to
if there's no warrant, then we're talking criminal actions on his part. I mean,
Yeah,
you can't get over that hump as long as you're going to pretend like all this fake bullshit is the law, like Texas 3802 or all these other state identification laws. That's not the identification law in America, dummy. Like, it's the Fourth Amendment. It always was.
And why is that? Because of the supremacy clause, which binds the judiciary. It binds the legislative branch, and it binds the executive branch. All of those people all of those offices. Every single fucking person that works for the government, even the postman, has to bow to all those things. He can't just hold on to your mail and put it in his basement. He'll go to prison once somebody finds out about it. You know that, and because that's a real crime. But until somebody, my grandfather said something to me one time, and it makes sense to me now. He was a lawyer. He was a scumbag real estate lawyer, but he hated the cops. And he always said to me, he said, "Look, you in America, you can do whatever you want until somebody complains." And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about becoming complainants. But he didn't explain that to me because he's a lawyer, and obfuscation, however the fuck you say it, making things.
Most of them don't understand it in its completion. It's honestly, once you've read the Supremacy Clause, though, then you know that what's written in those amendments there, that is the law. If you can't get that through your head, and that's where all these auditors are, where it's just like not one of them can just read the law and then just believe that it's the law. They constantly are making up these excuses about how it's not the law. Like, oh, the Supreme Court said that the cops can do anything they want. It's irrelevant. The Supreme Court has said everything over the years.
The Supreme Court is just all they do. They're the judicial branch. Okay, I'm going to give a little civics 101 for dummies. The executive branch either vetoes or signs into laws made by the legislative branch. The only real power that the executive branch has is to make policies, and policies are not law. The judicial branch, what do? They make decisions, they make rulings, and they make opinions. That's all they do. They cannot make policy, they cannot make laws. What does the legislature do? They make laws exclusively. They cannot make policy. They can't make decisions. They can't make opinions. And they can't make rulings. That's why they're all separated. But now all those lines are blurred by these assholes, these asshole the socialist criminals that are in charge. You know,
Right, but it's our fault when
It's
they
our-
say
right.
executive order, and you're like, oh, it's an executive order. Oh, it's an
it must be the law. It must be
Then
the law.
That's your fault because that's
Right.
just some basic government. That executive doesn't make laws, so no, it's not an order to you.
No.
Maybe it's an order for somebody to mark their sandwiches in the fridge so that they can be thrown
Yeah.
out on Fridays. Like that's an executive order for
Right,
the employees. They're
Yeah,
employees, not for us.
Right. Rotate the eggs until they're this much old, and then you mark the price down. You put them on a different shelf. That's a policy. You know, that's a policy.
That'd be
that's not a
business,
law.
but yeah.
Well, but it's still, you
Right.
know, it's still, you know, it still would be a policy. Like,
Yeah,
you know, if
it is a corporation. Yeah, the
Right.
government is a corporation, and so yeah, you got to think of the president like the president of like a company like IBM or something, where he's not your boss, he's not your emperor, he's the president of this corporation that's called government, and it's
Right, that-
just
that we pay for, we fund them.
right.
We allow them their useless existence. Until they're useful, they're useless, man. I mean, and let's face it, man. A good maybe 95 to 98% of all of our elected or appointed or public employees are fucking useless, man.
Yeah, you know what? Everyone is always trying to blame the government, and I'm honestly not really on board with that. They are what they are, okay? But now it's your move. We're
It's our-
playing chess. They
Yeah.
are what they are, and now it's our move to counter something here. And how do you counter that? One is just basic knowledge.
No,
so,
you're right.
oh, it's a judge's order. Well, let's see. Do judges make laws?
No.
No. So, okay. So it starts with you got to be competent in some goddamn way.
Well, you have to understand the three branches of government and how they function, and they are not allowed to function outside of that mandate. The legislative branch only makes laws. That's all they do. It's all they better be doing.
And then
Judges
most of those laws that they make are
Are-
idiotic. And
or
so,
they're illegal.
well, yeah, most of them are illegal because they violate the Supremacy Clause. They violate the 14th Amendment. Congress shall make no law abridging federally protected rights. And then they do it anyway. All these city councils and stuff, like I just saw an auditor that thought he went in there and saved free speech because he stopped the city council from passing some stupid crap. It's like, dude, you don't even have to worry about that nonsense because it's not even close to your Supremacy Clause rights that you are secure unless they have a warrant. So it doesn't matter what your city passes about free speech or honestly almost anything that they pass can't be enforced. Because
Right.
one way or another, they're going to want your ID to enforce it. They're going to seize you on the side of the road, maybe. They're going to, I mean, they're going to not have a complainant. Okay? Say, maybe if your dog poops in the park or some shit like that. It's just like they're never going to have the things that they need in order to make it actually to where you can be punished from it. So you don't
Right.
even have to worry about that crap. And you don't have to worry about state laws either because most of them are null and void. Honestly, most of them are. Especially ID laws. Especially any controlled substances. Especially most traffic stuff. Of course, if you're in a traffic thing and there's a complainant, now we're talking about crime.
Right. You run somebody over, you crash into their car, and you cause some property damage and some personal injury or whatever. Yeah, you're liable because now there's an actual injured complainant. You've deprived that person of their personal health. You've injured them. You've destroyed their property, or you've infringed on their rights. And then that person becomes the complainant, the injured complainant. The
Right.
pig cannot be an injured complainant because you're going 175 miles an hour. He can't. He can't.
Even if he sees you murder someone, he doesn't know that that's a crime. He doesn't know because there's no documentation to go with what's happening, and he doesn't have a legal knowledge. So he needs that document that says that was a crime and you need to seize the person.
Right.
And that's
Like-
a warrant. That's called a warrant. It's made by an elected judge. So
Yeah.
that we don't have these problems of where, oh, is this cop, this is what Carolina in Fort Worth was asking this morning. Is this cop going to be able to show up and ask some relevant questions and make
I
a
watched
good
that.
decision? It's like, lady, everything you just said is gibberish.
Because
like-
everything that's going to come out of the pig's mouth, no matter what, is going to be awful gibberish. It's going to be nonsense. Thinking that those people who choose to be socialist criminals and agree to commit crimes with their fellow socialists are going to be reasonable or articulate or have any kind of logical process. Look at these motherfucking pigs, man. Most of them have these big, broad, I call them bullfrog noses. The big, so they can get more oxygen to that tiny little brain so they can function. And they got these gigantic brows that shade their really sensitive caveman eyes from the sun.
But honestly,
okay?
man, it's not them. The only thing that you are going to be able to fix is if you take responsibility for you and what you are doing.
Right.
Because you can sit and bitch about these fucking clowns all goddamn day. Now, it's important to know what they are, okay? But now it's your move. Now it's that you need that warrant. Otherwise, you're not playing goddamn games with these people. You're going to arrest someone. You're going to file criminal charges. Seriously, that's what laws are for. If someone disrupts your business, they're guilty of a crime. Like, do it. Like, it's not argue with the cops or try to educate them. It doesn't matter what the cop is educated in. All he does is follow what the judge tells him to do. That's it.
That's correct. That's correct.
So, other than that, like, he shuffles papers between the two. Like, he gets the complaint to the judge signs it, tells the cop exactly what to do, gets it back to him. He doesn't have police powers when he's shuffling these documents back and forth. He only has police powers once he's got a document, a warrant, saying, you can do this, you can do this. And then it's up to you. You're going to consent to it, though. That's the thing about the people. And that's the thing about all these auditors, is that they're just going to put up with anything. My comment under Carolina's video was something like, gosh, where do you live? In America, I have a Fourth Amendment right. I can't be seized without a warrant. That warrant has to be signed by a injured complainant beforehand. So what decisions does this cop even need to make? Who knows? I'm probably just blocked on that channel anymore. They block me because I just tell them the truth and they cannot believe it. They're just like, yeah, but Supreme Court. It's like, dude, it's not that. They don't make the law. So
the problem is, and you're absolutely right, but the root of the problem is these people don't have any idea how government is structured and the fact that all of it bows to the supremacy clause. Yeah, all of this nonsense is covered by the supremacy clause. Everything in the Constitution is to protect us, not to protect them. They have their own little system going on that we're separate from. But we need to take control of it. We need to take control of it, and we need to do
and
it.
it's not by saying what crime.
No, it's not by saying, well, is this a Terry stop? No, motherfucker. This is a warrantless seizure.
Yeah, you tell
are the
them what it
criminal.
is.
Right. You are the criminal seizing me on the side of the road.
Yep.
You're under arrest. I'm going to write a criminal complaint. I'm going to be the complainant, and you will be responsible for damages. We can't
criminal.
play this.
We want him in a cage. Okay?
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
They're going to fail. They're going to fail to honor their oath. They will break their oath 100% of the time.
Of course, and then you just charge them again.
Then
under
you can
what?
sue them for that civil rights violation, 14th Amendment, equal protection under
Right,
the law.
equal protection under the law.
Also, now that you've got other officers involved, say the sergeant or the lieutenant or whatever, now you
Just
can
add
start
them
getting
on.
them on dereliction of duty, criminal. Get it on
Yep.
criminal. Because, see, that's not playing games. Are they going to write a civil complaint on you?
They
so
can't.
then why would you write a civil complaint on them?
Yeah, they
You
don't have
shouldn't.
that. The
They're going
pigs
to
don't-
write a criminal complaint on you because they hate your fucking guts because you're an American.
Yeah, and they're
and-
going to lie,
and they hate
they're
you.
and they're going to lie, and they're going to commit crimes against you to put
Yep.
you in a cage,
So what
just
are you
like
gonna
they
do?
did
Are
to
you-
Chile.
You got to do the same thing to them. Criminal. Put their goddamn asses in a fucking cage. That's exactly where they belong. And if you're in denial of it, fuck you, dude. I don't care what happens at court. I don't care about this shit because you could have solved it right there on the scene. As soon as the cops started disrupting your business, like, dude, this is not debatable. You're the complainant. So if you say that your business was disrupted, then who can argue that? No one.
Nobody. Look, before the cop even every time that somebody gets pulled over, and even I am going to start practicing this every single time. I don't get pulled over a lot, but usually when I do, I win on some flimsy standing on my rights shit. But I next time, before he even opens his mouth, I'm going to ask him, "Where's your warrant? Produce a warrant." If you don't have a warrant, anything else that happens between us is going to be a criminal action on your part. So think real carefully about your next fucking comment.
Well,
and what's
you
it
know
going
what?
to be.
Yeah, you could be nice to him if you want, but if you
But
want,
we don't have
you
any
can arrest him immediately for
We have
disrupting
no
your
obligation. We have no obligation to comply. The founding fathers did not comply. The founding fathers gave us all the tools we need to not comply to socialist criminals. And that's what they are. Socialist criminals looking to steal our time, steal our money, and steal our bones and put them in a cage. It like you said, it's a citizenship test, man. Every time you get pulled over or you get accosted in a public building by some, socialist criminal public servant who doesn't know their place, that's a test of your citizenship. Do you know your rights? And if you don't know your rights, guess what? You deserve to be in a cage. Guess who didn't deserve to be in a cage? Chile. Why did he end up in a cage? Because he deserved to end up in a cage because he doesn't know his rights as a citizen. He didn't deserve to be in court in the first place. And he could have stomped all that into paste before he even went to court if he actually knew anything about the fucking Constitution. But he sees the Constitution as a dying animal. We have to pick what parts of it we're going to eat, what parts of it are still good. And when I will always keep talking about this every chance I get. When he said, really, our Fifth Amendment is our last best right. It broke my heart because he just didn't get it. And I realized right then that no matter how much I love that dude and how much I admire his balls, he failed. At that moment, he gave up. He gave up because our rights are indelible. They are permanent. They are supreme. And he failed to realize that. I love Chile, and, I love a lot of people in this community, man, but I'm so frustrated with them, just like you, because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. I'm not saying that I'm any kind of an expert, but I understand, that once you start talking about, well, where's the warrant at, I've watched it on your video. The pigs they short circuit, man. They short circuit, and then they end up hearing shit like, "What's it like being so stupid that you have to work for me?" They end up hearing shit like that, because they're just idiots bumbling around. They're like a bunch of. It doesn't matter. They're socialist criminals. They're criminals, and if they don't have a warrant, they can do nothing except commit crimes against you, and that's just a fact. Listen, we got 4 people in the chat now. I guess they have short little attention spans. Why don't you guys hop in if you want? Get your words out. Have something to say.
All of these auditors are saying one thing, and I'm saying basically something completely different.
Completely different.
Everything that I get this from, I mean, Doc, let me tell you something. You know more than most lawyers about the law. I can tell just from you just went on a rampage there for a minute, and it was like, dude, lawyers don't know this stuff. They don't even get it.
No, and then the ones that claim they do, it'll say civil rights attorneys, and then you call them and they say, oh, we don't really do that. Yeah, you don't do it because you would be cutting off your own fucking socialist reward coupon flow. If you did that, right? It's like cutting off their own money flow. When in reality, I think that somebody that had bar card in all 50 states could make a fucking killing, representing civil rights abuses properly, doing it the right way instead of playing the game with the system. Show up in court and
probably too hard.
argue the actual rights of the defendant, who is now a complainant. Make that guy a complainant before court even starts. Get the papers written, get the fucking charges filed, and come in swinging. Don't come in behind a shield. You know that Esquire means squire, right? And what did the squire do? He carried they carried the shield and the weapons for the knights.
Well, I think that's a great way to use a lawyer, actually. See,
Absolutely.
you tell the lawyer what you want filed. You use him like he's your paralegal.
Right. He's your
Like
clerk.
you're the knight and he's your squire. I like that.
That's right.
Okay, but people are all fucking this up. They're just leaving it up to this guy to defend them. And that's not how you do it. You get it all in documentation. So do it through email so that you have a good record of all of the requests that you made
got
to
a
this
trail.
guy.
Yep, you've got a trail.
You want a motions hearing on all of these different violations that you see, and you want whatever motion to suppress because of this, that's suppress evidence or something. You want motions to dismiss because of certain violations. I'm not sure all the details on all the things that you're going to be facing, and I'm not even sure what all the motions are that you can file. But what I do know is that you need to look up what's pertinent in your situation and tell this guy what you want him to do.
Absolutely.
And it has to make sense. And if you do that, then this lawyer will win for you because if he doesn't take that stuff to the court, then he is now a what do they call it? Inadequate counsel or
incompetent. Yeah, I know exactly what you're thinking, but I don't have the word for it either. It's incompetent. It's got to be incompetent counsel, man.
Not good
on the
enough
base.
counsel.
Right. Yeah,
and you can get an appeal based on your own lawyer's actions because he's an officer of the court. He's signed up with them or some shit like that.
All right,
And
Mikey B, Jeff, whoever else is in here, grab that link. Make yourself a real quick StreamYard account and come in here and join the conversation, man. This is for you. It's not just, we're sitting here shooting off our mouths trying to stimulate you guys into asking questions or coming into the discussion. We want you guys to come into the discussion. There's 7 in the chat now. You guys are potential, leaders of this. Well, we're not going to call it new because it's old. It's 200 years old. This document that's here to protect us. You guys are going to be the new Stonewall Jacksons, right? You're going to be the new MacArthurs. But we're not going to be using howitzers and tanks and guns. We're going to be using our rights as the weapons against these socialist criminals that have us wound up in this system that's completely nonsense. And you guys are the leaders. Go and make your goddamn StreamYard accounts and get in here and have something to say, man. We want you guys to get into the conversation instead of just listening. Come on, this is about us. It's not about me and Kennedy. It's about all of us and doing our individual thing to make this system stop fucking over America. Because like Kennedy says, they hate us. They hate us with a passion. They hate that we have rights. They hate that we have the tools to yank them out of their positions and put them in a cage and ruin their lives like they've done to us. All the tools to do it are in that Constitution. All of them. And it's the supreme law of the land, no matter what any judge or pig or legislature or president or governor or mayor or city council or school board has to say about it. We are the fucking masters. They are the fucking servants. They have to do their jobs, and they haven't been. They haven't been. Okay, well,
Something I wanted to touch on from earlier, we were talking about why people will believe things. And I read this book called Wizard's First Rule. What was the
Give
name
us
of
a
the
second,
author?
John.
Anyways, the first rule of being a wizard was that people will believe anything, either because they're afraid that it might be true or they want it to be true. So
Yes.
So like with
yes.
the Trump thing,
It's like
people are
religion. Yeah.
people just want Trump to feel what they desire out of their government, and so they're just willing to believe anything, go along with anything. That's why I think that he will get elected.
Sure. Yeah.
I think that that's set up long in
It-
advance.
the thing that bothers me about Trump is we really don't know anything about him except that he's a big mouth and he's a scumbag. He's a business criminal, surely, but we don't know much beyond that about him. Okay, here comes John.
Well, he's supportive of indemnifying police, which is is he
It's
on
outrageous.
drugs himself or what? Man, that's
Yeah,
like some
obviously.
angel dust or PCP. He's on to some serious shit if he thinks he ought to indemnify police. What a joke. And of course, it's unconstitutional. Equal
Right.
protection under the law. That's the 14th Amendment. So that means if a cop commits a crime against you, he's prosecuted. Just like you would be prosecuted if you committed a crime against him or his friends, right?
Oh, absolutely. Without a question, you'd be prosecuted. The
Equal
question
protection under the
is-
law. You got to
Right.
stand up and be the complainant. But
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
you should get that. They're going to probably deprive it from you every single time. But
Yeah, they're gonna at least try. What's up, John?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You need to turn down your volume in the background there, buddy.
Okay.
I'm a host of an AM talk show. Turn down your volume, please. What's on your mind,
better?
John? Yeah, that's good.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I like
What's on-
listening and learning. I let a cop pull me over, and I had suspended license, and they took the automobile because they said some Supreme case, and I just
yeah,
gave
so
in. I should
they
have
seized
asked for
your
every warrant.
vehicle.
Yeah, they committed grand theft auto because they took it without a warrant. They pulled you over without a warrant. They committed crimes against your person.
They said it was the court that
oh, yeah, it
gave
was
them
the
these
court.
rights, and that's not true because the court doesn't give any cops any rights at all. It would be the legislature that would make laws. So everything that they were saying to you was just a hoax to get you to submit and to comply and to not stand there and demand a warrant. See, if you would have stood there and demanded that warrant immediately, and then you started talking about, hey, aren't you disrupting my business then? Because you don't have proof that you can seize me.
Right. Without
They need that proof. Otherwise, now we're talking about like some self-defense territory where some guy is just bothering you.
Yeah, and they stole your car, and well, first of all, they pulled you over. Doesn't matter why they pulled you over. And they're armed, so they seized you while they're armed without a warrant. That's always something that you want to put in the criminal complaint as well, right, Kennedy? When the pigs are armed, you put that attachment on the criminal complaint.
It's an
You know,
enhancement.
this is listen. None of this is legal advice. This is
law.
citizens. It's citizens talking to citizens about the actual law of the land, which is the Constitution. John, you got to learn that thing backwards and forwards, dude. It's a toolbox full of weapons and tools to dismantle every illegal thing that is done to you by the government. That's what it's for. It's to protect us from each other and from the government, but mostly it's to protect us against the government, because who sins more against each other? Do the citizens sin more against each other than the government sins against us? I don't think so.
Government. Yeah.
Right. So, we can't really offer you anything that's legal advice, but we can tell you that you have the right to be the complainant. Even now, probably you could still file and be a complainant. Yeah, it's not too
7
late.
months ago. Yeah.
That's not too long. Yeah, there's no statute of limitations on exercising your constitutional rights to demand that these people observe the law. And if they don't, then they're criminals, John. They're criminals. They are criminals.
So what I would suggest to everyone
wanted
is,
to-
first off, what I would suggest to every single person is that, first off, you read the Constitution. You read the Supremacy Clause. That's in Article 6. You go on to read the amendments. Read every single one of them. Once you're done with that, go to your state laws on citizens' arrest. Once you find out what you're allowed to arrest someone on in your state, then start looking up those crimes. Okay? Maybe it needs to be a felony, maybe it needs to be violent, who knows? Based on your state law. Figure out, unwanted touching is pretty common, disorderly conduct is pretty common. And when they don't have proof, they either have that warrant that a judge said, seize John, or else they don't have a right to seize you. Okay, so now you need to start invoking that right. And once you invoke it and then they deprive you of it, now we're talking about things like deprivation of rights under color of law, federal crimes, which this is all in my book, by the way. All these laws are in my book. Once you learn the 1964 Civil Rights Act, you understand that you can't be oppressed for a lot of things, even in private businesses. And so you're going to kind of increase your competence, figure out what crimes they committed against you, because just seizing you without a warrant, that's a crime. In my state, it's disorderly conduct. And my state citizens arrest laws say that I can arrest anyone that I see commit any crime, misdemeanor or felony. So that means that when I have a cop that just pulled me over and he doesn't have proof from a judge that he has a right to seize me, then he's already guilty of a crime right then and there. And then as far as seizing your vehicle without a warrant, we're talking something probably like Grand Theft Auto. They do not have a right to seize your vehicle without a warrant. And then why was your vehicle even there in the first place? Because they showed up, disrupted your business, and possibly, it sounds like, they kidnapped you. Because if they seize you without a warrant, we're talking... No, they didn't arrest you?
No.
They just took your vehicle?
Correct.
Ouch. But, yeah, okay.
I'm in California.
So maybe not kidnapping. Yeah, it's honestly almost irrelevant because these are all federal laws. So it's the same on the federal laws in every state. But then in your state, you need to find out your citizen's arrest law. And then you need to figure out laws that will fall under that. For me, I could just arrest that cop immediately for disorderly conduct. Get his supervisor there to take custody of him. Go ahead and swear out a complaint. Or take him in front of the judge. In my state, that's how it says. I could take the guy in front of the judge personally, put him in my car physically, take him to the judge physically under force. And I know I wouldn't suggest that for anybody to take a cop under physical force, but that's what the law is. And they're counting on you never standing up and just being verbal. I'm verbally placing you under a citizen's arrest for a disorderly conduct, for disrupting my lawful business. Like, dude, you either have proof of the reason to seize me or else now it's a self-defense issue. And cops are killed on the side of the road all the time. It just happened here in Boise just a month ago. And it happened here in my county about 6-8 months, a year ago, something like that. Like, it happens all the time, and it's because they're violating God-given rights. And it's going to continue to happen until they stop. And the only way we can get them to stop is to hold them accountable every single time. You don't need a lawyer. You don't need this attorney shield crap that Long Island Audits is doing. They don't even know the law anyway. So you just need to read the actual law and then trust it. We got some static coming through from somebody.
Okay.
That's better. Well, it was better.
I'm not hearing any of it. That's weird. What else is on your mind, John? You got any questions after what you just heard?
Your sound just went way low.
Mine? Mine did?
Yeah.
How about now? Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. John, if there's more on your mind, dude, now's the time. What do you have any questions, or you want to talk a little bit more about, things after you've heard what me and Kennedy's had to say?
Yeah, I've been listening. And
okay. Well, what?
I got one
us,
other
man.
question, and that's it. I wanted to go after the pig. I wanted to attack his insurance. Is that a good thing?
Well, you got to become the complainant, John. You have to
First, okay.
Well, it sounds like what you're wanting to do is go for like his bond type of a thing.
Yeah.
Well,
So he won't
okay,
be on the street.
that's civil. And yeah, if you want to get some money out of him, then yeah, you're going to need to go civil. That's like an 18
No, I just
USC
wanted to-
1983, or you can attach to his bond. I'm not sure about that. What I say is, what I'm all about is doing criminal, because money is here or there, right? But your safety, that's, to me, that's what matters, and that's what we need to focus on. Go ahead and get him on the disrupting your business. Just file a criminal complaint, and just send it in. Send it through email to your, local sheriff's department or your cops or whatever. Get some responses on the record, and then don't worry, they'll give you plenty of excuses to sue them. Plenty.
Okay.
Yeah,
You
but
can have
gotta-
the AI write your civil complaint. The AI, like
Yes.
ChatGPT or something. You just tell it all of your information, and it'll ask you for some things that, like, it is going to want in there, like, put the guy's name here, put the date here, put the,
describe the
Yeah.
crime, and absolutely always include while armed.
Okay.
Because that could be considered a strong arm because he's got a
everything
weapon
that
on
you
him.
can think of needs to go in these criminal and then these civil
Criminal
complaints.
complaint.
Every time they violate your constitutional rights, you can sue them. But you need to actually stand up and invoke these rights. If they're just like, will you step out of the car? And you're like, sure. Then
Yeah,
you're
that-
not invoking your constitutional rights to be secure in your person.
Right, because
Unless
you're
they
either-
have a warrant.
right. If they
And
don't
so
have
that
a
means
warrant, yeah,
It's
you're absolutely
consensual. So if you consent to it, then you don't get to sue them.
Yeah, once you step out and do the very first thing that they order you to do, which they have no right to order.
Your
you to
sound
do,
is bad
Jeff,
again.
Oh, how about now? Is it okay?
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. Maybe I need to play around with some more with this headset after today is done. If either you're secure in your person, effects, and property, or you're not. And if you're not, you're going to go ahead and step out of that car, and then the cops are going to kick your face off, and they're going to put handcuffs on you and throw you in the car, and they're going to steal your car. They're going to shoot your dog. They're going to kick your door in. They're going to do whatever they want because you've gone into their realm. It's easier. Okay, here's the problem. Standing up for your rights is hard if you don't understand that you have the power. You have the power. John, Let's, Jeff, anybody else who's listening, the power is yours, not theirs. Unless they have a warrant, they have no power whatsoever over you. Every single power that they think they have, that you think they have, is assumed. Okay? It's not real.
Okay.
It's a figment. But it takes bravery, it takes being verbal, and it takes knowing the Constitution. That's all it is, John.
Stop listening to these channels at all, because it's honestly, you need to read the law, including the supremacy clause, so you know which laws are the top, and they matter every day, all day long, and then you know what is subservient to that. State law,
Everything.
city ordinances, any policy doesn't even apply to you at all. It's not even
Right.
a law. So,
The
judge's
supremacy
order,
clause.
that's not a law either.
No.
Executive order, not a law. You're going to have to read through that Constitution, and then you got to start invoking those rights. And don't follow these auditors. What they're showing you, what law? Don't do that crap. Invoke your rights. I'm invoking my Fourth Amendment right to be secure in my person, unless you have a warrant to seize me. Show me your warrant. And then when they don't show you the warrant, then now you can make the choice. Maybe I'll arrest you for disorderly conduct. Maybe I'll just give you a lawful order to go ahead and leave. Like, you're creating a disturbance. I'm going to have to ask you to leave at this point. Maybe you're going to
Yep.
trespass them off your property. Oh, no warrant? Okay, you're trespassed. And then, if they don't leave, go ahead and arrest them for trespassing with a firearm in my state, Like, it's up to you to defend yourself.
Oh, Dragonette is here. Look, David
Okay.
Robert Hicks of the Hicks Nation has this to say. We don't believe anything, David Robert of the Hicks Nation. We know that the Supremacy Clause is supreme. Everything else is subservient to the Constitution. We know that. because of the supremacy clause. And supremacy means 100% plus all the time. All day, every day, the Constitution is above every single law, ordinance, statute, blah, 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 that isn't subservient to the Constitution. Understand that, okay? You have to come out of that belief that the state has any kind of power over you. They don't. They don't. They only have power over you when you allow them to commit crimes against you. Like they did to Dragonette. Dragonette's got a hell of a story of crimes committed against her. A hell of a story. A hell of a story of crimes committed against her. And, you know, I'm hoping that she will come on board with us and, you know, learn her rights and learn how to serve these people, because they have been nothing but wronging her for the longest time. I don't know how long it's been, but it's been a while. And, you know, just like you, John, they committed crimes against you, dude. They stole your car. They stole your car. They impeded your free movement, and they made you get a ride from somebody or walk home from wherever you were when they pulled you over under a suspended license. Where was the warrant? Without a warrant, they can't do shit. The Constitution says so. Seizure means arrest, means being pulled over, means being stopped. If they come up to you and they interrupt you, that's a seizure. If you're standing, if they stop you on the street and they want to know what's in the paper bag that you're drinking, that's a violation of your Fourth Amendment rights. They don't have any.
No,
they don't have
it's
any right.
consensual at first.
Well, it can be consensual, but you can tell them right away, "Where's your warrant?" Because I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
I'm going to stand on my Fifth Amendment. So why don't you fuck off? You know, there's the solution to that real quick. You know, I'm standing on my Fifth Amendment. I'm not going to talk to you anymore. I don't want to hear anymore. I don't want to hear. You know, make sure you tie your shoes before you walk so you don't trip over your shoestrings. Don't eat yellow snow. You look both ways before you cross. None of that bullshit. Where are you going? Where you been? Where do you work? Who do you know? What's your favorite color? Blah, blah, blah. All that is a violation.
Well,
all those
unless
things are
you
violations.
consent. But
Well,
people consent all the time.
Right, but once you consent, you're done. But you can still stand on your rights even after you consent. A consent is not a complete surrender. If you finally decide that you're going to stick up for yourself, then you can stick up for yourself.
Yeah. So, David, like, if you have a license plate, I mean, so what? You have rights.
Yep.
Look, let's say that what governs your license is your state laws, right? And what are those in relation to your Fourth Amendment requirement of a warrant to be searched or seized? They're subservient. So what does that mean? It means they're null and void to you.
Right. Any deceptive contract is null and void. Period.
Contracts aren't enforced at the point of a gun.
No,
That's
they're
not
not.
what you do.
No, that's not how that works. And now he's talking about Walmart. Those are policies at Walmart, okay? You have rights as an employee. They cannot make you do this, that, or the other thing that might get you harmed or harm someone else, blah, blah, blah. That's a whole different ball game than what we're talking about. Okay?
I don't see that comment.
Here. I'll show you. I'll show it to you. Yeah, it's, you know, I know where he's coming from. I was there myself years ago. I got out from underneath that kind of thinking and came all the way above water thanks to Kennedy. You know,
when you work at Walmart, you choose to consent to give up certain things.
Okay.
And you can choose to leave Walmart if you want.
Yeah.
But in the United States, this concept that you're an employee.
Yeah, what is that? Where the fuck do you get that from, David? Can you cite somewhere in the Constitution where it says we're employees of the federal government? Can you find that in the Constitution? Because you got to understand
ludicrous.
something, David. The Constitution is the supreme law of the land. Anything else, unless it's in line with the Constitution, is illegal. And the people that wrote it into law and signed it into law and voted for it to be put into law are traitors. Okay? They're traitors. Understand that. The Constitution doesn't. We're not employees of the government, man. They don't send me a check. I'm not in the military. I don't work for the State Department. We're not government employees. We're not public servants. We're private citizens. And we have private citizen rights under the Constitution that the government does not have. You have to get this through your head, dude. The Constitution is for we the people, not them, the socialist criminals that are in charge or think that they're in charge or are in the government, okay? We're not employees of them, dude. If you think that, then
Yeah,
then you're
citizen
lost,
just means
man.
you live in a city. That's all it means.
yeah, here we go.
And we use it as you living in a nation. So
Right.
it doesn't matter about what contracts you do. Contracts aren't enforced at the point of a gun. And
No.
you can forfeit whatever rights you want, but I'm telling you, you shouldn't do that.
No, you should stand up, and John should stand up too. John, I'm going to tell you right now, bro, that you can start standing on your rights. You just have to learn how. You just have to learn how, and you have to do it. You got to
Stop trusting people and start reading the actual documents, the actual stuff. That way, you know that you're dealing with the highest of it. You already know that. Like, you can't go into a courtroom and have someone bring something up that you don't know because you know what's at the top already, and that's what you're citing is the stuff at the top.
No, what you're not understanding, David, is that the government, you cannot. That's bullshit. What you
You
just said
can't
is
be
complete
searched
bullshit.
or seized without a warrant. That's
No.
with your government. That's the right you have with your government. So no matter what you do, if they search or seize you without a warrant, then that's a crime. It's disorderly conduct in my state.
And it's probably multiple crimes against John, from what he's saying.
Yeah.
They pulled
there's
you
always
over.
going to be a
Yeah, they pulled-
seizure.
Yep, they pulled you
And
over
then-
without a warrant. That's an illegal seizure without a warrant.
And then they took his vehicle without a warrant, so that's
That's-
another seizure.
That's a seizure and it's grand theft auto
We're talking
attached
about-
with being weaponized.
Deprivation of rights under color of law, that's a federal offense. We're talking about grand theft auto. We're talking about, and then if you invoked anything else at the time, then tack that stuff on. And then if you went ahead and arrested him and no one took custody of that cop, go ahead and get a 14th Amendment equal protection under the law violation. David, if you let's say you give something to the state and you agree already to stand under something, you can withdraw your consent immediately. You don't have to. You can't be seized without a warrant. That warrant has to be signed by an injured complainant. They don't have one. They're never really going to have one unless it's legitimately a crime, like a real. I sent
David-
it to your email.
Yeah, David,
to your- I sent it to your phone. It's also on our chat, maybe somewhere. I don't know.
right there. John, I would encourage you to stand on your rights and make yourself the complainant as soon as you feel comfortable that you can do it.
Yeah, and
Okay,
then start
do it,
ordering
man.
them to do stuff like release your car. Do you have your car back or what?
Oh yeah, I got it back. Yeah,
Okay,
no,
well then,
Did you
You-
pay?
yeah,
How much was
yeah.
it?
Almost 1,000.
Yeah, so you need to be probably sending a bill to. I don't know a whole lot about it, okay? Because when stuff like this happens to me, I invoke everything that I know immediately, and I get somebody there that's going to either know what this is going on, or I'm going to start making arrests, or like by the end of dealing with me for 5 minutes, they are not going to want to take me in front of a judge at all. Because what are we going to do when we get in front of the judge? We're going to arraign the cop for disrupting my business, and then probably a kidnapping or something like that.
what we need to do is envision ourselves as constitutional rights hand grenades. Okay, we pull the pin and throw it in. We stand on everything that applies. Fourth Amendment first, Fifth Amendment next. Because they're going to start asking questions. If you haven't already, you got to go to, well, that's Kennedy Walker's. You need to go to Kennedy Walker and watch his when he arrests pigs. Or, I made a couple shorts of them and put them on mine just because they're fucking hilarious. And they're way more entertaining and have actual meat to them. Okay? All these other guys are like eating White Castle sliders, man.
Right.
Kennedy is a steak dinner with potatoes and beer. Okay, all the rest of them are fucking White Castles with red pop. Okay, they're not going to fill you up, and they're not going to edify you, and they're not going to nourish you. What Kennedy is doing is what we should all be doing, and it's very basic. It's very simple. It's very easy. You just got to read and stand on your rights, man. That's all there is to it. Hey, thanks a lot, John.
Okay.
If you need anything, or you need to, you need a little bit more guidance, I'm going to give you my email. I'm just going to put it up here anyway because it's my door is always open
Okay.
to other Americans who want to talk about it, or who need maybe some bad advice or good advice. But anyway, here's my email. If you need some help, we can go through it together. I'm not an expert. I'm just a person
Yeah.
like you, but I understand that rights are something that we have to insist on, and when we insist on them, the pigs get a blank stare on their face, man, and they do not know what to do. Thank you, John. And look,
Right.
man, you still have recourse here, but you have to understand
Okay.
that it's going to come from you. You can't go, you can't use their system. You have to use your rights. The
The real
supremacy
system
clause,
is
the real law.
they pretend like it doesn't exist
Yep.
anymore. But
Yeah, I
you know,
got it.
really, you got to get your hands on my book. You got to start studying up, and then go for the civil and go for criminal prosecutions.
You are owed restitution for the crimes committed against you, sir. Thanks a lot, John. Like I said, man,
Okay.
there's my email address. Feel free to shoot me something through, and maybe we can talk later or tomorrow or whenever. All right, my brother, you hang in there.
Okay. Thanks.
Thanks a
I
lot.
got to get out of here to see the email.
Yeah, no,
I'll log out.
it's all right, man. You just hang
Okay.
around. I'm gonna put Dave on the stage now. Thanks a lot, John.
All right.
And,
Thank you. Thank
feel
you,
free-
guys.
Hey, you're welcome, brother. Just hang in there and read that Constitution. All right, Dave.
Hey guys,
What's up,
Okay.
man?
what's up, Kennedy? Hey, I didn't get your name. I'm sorry,
Doc. His
Yeah, you
name's
can just
Doc.
call me Doc.
Doc. Oh, okay. Cool,
If we
cool.
get on a first name basis, that'll be in private.
Oh, good.
Excuse me.
Kennedy, bro, when you're driving around these days, do you have a license plate on your car or no?
No, I don't.
Yeah, and why? Why would you take it off?
Well, it's your identity. I'm secure in my identity. Doc, I think your headphones are going crazy again because we got some feedback or something.
How's that?
Yeah, that's better. Okay, so that's your identity.
Okay.
You don't.
Is
you
your
don't
car
wanna put
registered?
It's expired.
It's expired. Do you think that holds any weight or no?
Not to me.
How long ago
Sorry?
was it expired, Kennedy?
It's been 6 months. It doesn't
Well-
hold any weight to me.
Do you have a driver's license or no?
Technically, I still have a driver's license, which I'm
You
just
do.
gonna let
Yeah.
expire.
But because the reason being is, all three of those items are contracts with the corporation of the United States, right?
If they are, then it's just irrelevant because I think your headphones are doing it again.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
Is it good now?
that's good.
I didn't do anything. I didn't touch them or nothing. I don't know what's up.
So-
I got to work on it.
You can withdraw consent anytime you want.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
Anytime.
Dude, I hear you, but it's like saying, listen, I brought up Walmart. It's like, to me, this is the problem. It's like saying, hey, man, I work at Walmart. I'm showing you, I got my Walmart badge, I got my Walmart clothes on, and I clocked in at Walmart, and I'm on Walmart time, but I don't want to follow Walmart's rules anymore. That's essentially, and Walmart's paying me while I'm the employee at Walmart. So I'm getting their quote benefits contractually. I'm getting all of that from Walmart, but then they're going to tell me that I got to follow their rules, and I'm telling them, no, I don't have to follow my rules. The Constitution says I don't have to follow your rules. Like if employees
The
did that,
Constitution doesn't protect you from Walmart. It protects you from the government.
well, no,
it
but what
only goes-
the government is Walmart, man. That's what you guys aren't getting. The government is a corporation. It's a corporation. Yeah.
It
The-
is a
the-
corporation, but it's not a private corporation. It's a public corporation. And so
Well, the
it's
problem, no,
government.
well, hold on. the problem is do you know where the corporation of the government of the United States is located?
I have rights everywhere I'm at,
Well, wait, hold on.
so it doesn't matter.
The corporation of the United States is located in the District of Columbia, which is foreign to the land of the United States of America, right? You understand
Foreign?
that? Yeah. Yeah.
I
The District
wouldn't
of
say
Columbia is the
that. It
District
doesn't
of
matter.
Col-
Listen, your rights are inalienable. That
I-
literally means that it
I
can't
get
be.
it, man. I get that. I get
No,
that.
you,
I get
John,
that.
you
I get
don't, or
that. But
Dave,
they're
you
not
don't
operating.
get it.
But they're not operating in that world. They're operating in a fictional world where the police carry around guns and they could give a shit when you tell them they need a warrant, because according to them, they treat you. They're treating most people as though that they are their employees, quote, for Walmart, and that they have to follow their rules. That's the way they assume everything works right now. And so to do
Yes.
otherwise, to think that they're not going to respect.
That's
They
just
have
consensual,
guns,
though.
man. What?
What they're doing is that they're getting you to consent.
Yeah.
That's why they act like that, is so that you'll just consent, and then you do.
That Dave, your body language completely expresses how I'm feeling about what you're saying, dude, because you're completely ignoring the supremacy clause. Supreme means it's above anything else.
I understand language, man. I get that. The problem
you
is
don't.
in reality.
You obviously
the
don't,
problem
man.
is in reality. Listen, let me ask you a question. When a cop turns his lights on, you haven't done anything wrong. Why are you even fucking pulling over then?
Well, because there's a threat.
What's the threat?
The threat is violence, man. If you
he'll-
don't pull
he'll
over,
fuck-
they're going to
Right,
knock
and
you
that's
off
what
the
I'm
road.
saying. So the whole thing is fiction. You know damn well you haven't done anything wrong, right? That you know damn well they don't have a freaking warrant for you. You would know if they had a warrant because you'd know you'd committed some crime. If you know that you haven't committed a crime, why would you pull over for them? Because you're playing along in their little fictional world. You're submitting right at that moment. 100% you are.
Yeah, you're submitting, but that's
Yeah.
because they're
So there
threatening
you go. You've just given them jurisdiction.
No. If a guy comes in and robs your store with a gun and you hand over the money, that's not consensual. You're at gunpoint. That's under duress.
Right.
So-
But what I'm trying to tell you is that the entire interaction, you're under duress. I mean,
Well,
are you
yeah,
kidding
but
me?
as soon as they get to my window, I'm going to arrest them for disorderly conduct.
Right, and then they're gonna yank you out of the car anyway, man.
Why would they do that?
If
They're
you-
the ones
if
under
you-
arrest.
If you were to practice
sound is going bad again.
Kennedy, if you were so sure of this, you could go out in your car right now in 5 seconds, drive down the road, get pulled over, and tell them you're going to arrest them and not listen to a word they said. And I'm telling you, it ain't going to work as you think. They don't give a shit, bro.
Okay, so you've got a belief that you brought that using
I mean,
the law doesn't
listen,
work.
If it was that easy, Kennedy, if it was that easy, you could literally get 100 million views because you
Well,
could
I've
drive
done more.
down,
I've
go
done
80
more than
miles an
any
hour
other
down the
auditor,
road.
though.
I'm
I've
sorry?
already done more than any other auditor. In fact, all of them combined. I've filmed in a courtroom. I've sold drugs in a park. I've already done. I drive around without a license plate every day. Or I mean, I don't drive very often actually. But every time I drive, it is without a license plate, and they don't.
You guys
pull
aren't
me
paying
over.
federal taxes, right? You're not paying federal
I
taxes.
don't.
Right.
I
But
claim
if
exempt.
you did, that would be consensual. Yeah, exactly. Exempt.
I claim
We
exempt. Fuck you. You
consent
don't get to
to
keep my
this
money.
stuff.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
tell them how much to withhold,
Yeah.
or we tell them exempt.
I'm with you.
And
No,
it's
I'm
like,
with you. That's all voluntary, right?
What is it? The Declaration of Independence say that it's governed. Let's see.
The consent of the governed. The government, we
And
don't
that's
need
what
to
it-
consent to them.
But you can if you choose to.
Yeah.
But I don't suggest that any of us consent to any of this crap because they
It's all
only get
nonsense.
worse.
The problem is when you sign a contract, because now when you sign a contract, you're bound by the rules of the contract that you
It's
put your
just-
name to.
A contract is just civil. So all that can happen with a contract is like a civil remedy, like
Okay, yeah, I'm with you there. Yeah. I agree with you there.
Right. It's a financial remedy.
But the problem is that they do have the guns. They do have the gang, and so as far as that goes, if they want to pull you in and then play with you in court, they can jeopardize your freaking life.
They can try.
I
They
mean,
can try it.
yeah.
I mean, you think that you honestly think that a person driving around with a car with a registration, with a license plate, and holding a driver's license, they get pulled over by the cop, and they're just going to tell them, "Hey, listen, do you have a warrant?" And the cop is going to respect that. You think that'll work 100 out of 100 times?
I think you'll have to arrest the cop. In a lot of cases.
Uh-huh.
In a lot of
and
cases,
you're just
you
going to
could
arrest the cop,
I mean,
and nothing, and they're not going to.
You got to check your state law on citizen's arrest.
I did
gotta-
already. I already did.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Can you arrest for a misdemeanor?
Oh my gosh, I'd have to go back over it, man. I've been reading so much information.
Yeah. Check it again. If you can arrest for a misdemeanor, that makes it really easy because basically
I don't think you
disorderly
can.
conduct. Well,
I'm not-
then all you do is go for the felony.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
learn the felonies.
I'll have
Things
to
like
double check.
deprivation of rights under color of law. That's a felony. It's a federal offense, actually.
Yep.
I prefer to go with state charges, to tell you the truth.
Fucking piggle.
But
Mhm.
what I'm saying is, even if he pulls me out of the car and takes me to court, well, guess what? We're going to arraign the cop
Right.
for disrupting my business and a kidnapping.
Right.
He sees me without a warrant, so that's-
The problem is, man, is that you get wrapped up into that system, though, and if when you're we are extremely well versed. I have to go in like 2 minutes. You're extremely well versed in your knowledge of the law, but if you're not, you can make one single mistake, and then the judge is going to have you sitting in jail cell for another 30 days. That doesn't mean it doesn't mean he ain't going to pay for it, but you're still going to spend 30 days in jail, right?
Right.
I mean, freedom isn't
But
free. I
that's
guess,
going
right?
to be that's going to be an illegal seizure.
Yeah, I'm with you.
It's going to be
Everything
based
they
off
do is illegal, man. Everything
Right.
they do.
Right, and that's why knowing what laws we're talking about
Yeah.
matters so much. That's why it's so important to completely ignore things like case precedent. It's so important to completely ignore things
I'm with
like
you.
state law.
I'm with you. I understand that. I get you. I understand that. Yeah.
so that you're
100%.
focused on just what the real law is that falls
Yeah.
under the supremacy clause, and that maybe you do spend some time in jail, but while you're in jail, you're writing this stuff down. Motion to dismiss this
Yeah.
entire
But
case.
that-
I want
that is
charges
spot
on
where
the
your
judge.
comfort level is so much higher than most other people's, man. I mean, it'll take your average person, man. I'm even at the point now where I'm like, okay, fine. They throw me in jail. They throw me in jail, right? I can deal with that. But with the fact is that shit can cascade into deeper shit if you don't know how to handle yourself in a legal manner at that point. You have to understand, which means now you have to know the legal system, not the law. You have to know their legal bullshit too.
No, you don't. You don't, because once you stand on your rights, it enters into a whole other domain of ruining
Really?
everyone's
In what
life.
court? In what
listen,
court?
Dave, man, hold on, Dave, hold on. In every court, once you convert and you start being the complainant instead of being the defendant, the court is now on the defensive. You can impugn the judge. You can impugn the pigs. You can press charges against everyone in that courtroom who isn't just an observer. The
Right.
transcriptionist is part of the fucking conspiracy. The clerk, the bailiffs, all of them, okay? And they know that. That's why the legal system is so complicated to us, because it's all this legalese bullshit, when the supreme law of the land is very simple and easy for
Yeah.
everyone to understand.
It sounds great in theory. All right, maybe I'll be able to join you guys in the next one.
Yes,
I really-
please do, man. Please do,
you
because
guys, are you familiar with James C. Lovett? No, all right, yeah, he works on like the American state national level where you're cutting your contracts with the United States corporation. It's kind of just
David,
like a preemptive.
let me tell you about that real quick.
Yeah.
If I did that, the cops would never know that I did that because I'm not going to provide him any documents because I'm secure in them.
Yeah.
It's my Fourth Amendment. I'm
Yeah.
not going to give them any information that's going to be used against me.
Right.
Dude, I can't be seized without a warrant.
Yeah. But they will do that. They will do that. They
Well,
can
yeah,
do
but you're
They
going to
have the power.
consent to it.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
going
they
to
don't.
arrest them if they do that.
They don't have
Yeah.
the power to do it. They cannot legally do it.
They do
Dave,
it every
okay?
day, bro, 1,000 times a day.
Yeah, but
that's
there's only
why-
one person that arrests them, and that's me. And they don't
Yeah.
do it to me.
I hear you. I hear you.
Because
All
they
right.
know better. All right,
No,
listen,
I'm not
Dave.
against- I'm not against you guys. I just think, practically speaking, I'm not sure.
Well, we're gonna have to edify you some more, bro,
I
and
hear
get
you, bro.
and get you to where you understand.
All right,
But look,
cool.
if we're not brave, if we don't have big mouths, we're not Americans, right?
Yeah.
Okay. There you go. There's your baseline. We go up from there, Dave. Okay. Thanks a lot, man.
All right,
You
guys.
hang in there and keep coming back.
Later, guys.
Later.
Anybody else want to come on here and shoot off their mouth? Have some questions, have a conversation. This is the time. Dave has
seriously
a lot of
important.
potential.
It's seriously important to realize that they're going to do whatever you let them get away with.
That's right. They're just
And
like
and if you stay vigilant and you know what they're saying and you know what they're doing and you are going to at least try to counter them because you know you've been seized. They call it a stop, but that's just a synonym for seizure. So you know you can't be seized unless they have a warrant. So it's just like, now just put that into words. And I mean, these cops are getting body cams all over the place.
yeah.
So like when you say something like, where's your warrant? Now that's becoming evidence that we're going to be looking at in the trial and stuff like
Right.
That's good.
Right. It goes on the record, man.
When you say stuff like that you're about on your way, you know? But if you just submit to everything, you let the seizure pass like it's nothing, and then they ask for your documents and you consent, and then they ask you some questions and you consent to discuss your day with them. Like, this is your fault, and these are your choices, and these are not going to do you any service. So don't do that crap. And then if you don't, then the entire conversation, you got to understand that when all that comes out of your mouth is your rights and which ones they're violating, then you got to understand that they're not going to be able to say anything in the court, in the trial. Like, they're not even going to be able to talk because every word you said was like, oh, you're violating this right, you're violating that right, I'm placing you under arrest for this.
Yeah. I wish Wasamati you could get on here and talk. I know that he's an interesting person. I can tell already from things that he said before. But you're absolutely right, man. Look, Let's says it's not complicated. It's not. It's really not that complicated. You just have to understand what your rights are, and you have to stand on your rights, period. 4A is the very first one. Where's your warrant? Show me the warrant. What's your reason? Why are you stopping me? All those things require a warrant, dude. You want to stop me? You want to interrogate me? Produce a motherfucking warrant, or see you later. Look, I've been pulled over without driver's license. My car was loud, and the cop comes up and he says, "Oh yeah, your car is kind of loud there, partner." And I said, I'm going to stand on my Fifth Amendment, man. I'm not saying anything else. And furthermore, my 4A, what else? My car's too loud. And, well, you should get it fixed.
Warrant. Get out
Yeah.
of here.
I say 4A.
He won't leave.
And
Place
no,
him under
the
arrest.
dude. Yeah, the dude said, just drive carefully and, try to get that license squared away. You know why? Because my license expired. It wasn't suspended or revoked. It just expired, and I never got it reinstated again because fuck them. You know, fuck them, man. I don't need that license. License means permission. It's permission to do whatever, and we have a right to do that without begging permission from some pimp ass judge who's going to try to throw me in jail for not having it. Fuck you, man. I have the right to pursue my own life, liberty, and happiness, and you're getting in the way of that. What are you, some kind of traitor? Where's my constitutional rights? They don't exist in your courtroom. You're a traitor. You're a traitor.
Yeah, I wouldn't call the judge a traitor. I'd go ahead and place him under arrest, because you're gonna have you're transforming, instead of like just insulting him. What you're doing is you're changing it into a legal accusation.
Right,
when
and
you
he
place him
can't.
under arrest.
Yeah, he can't sidestep that.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, the court reporter is going to write that down. I'm placing you under arrest for this. It's like, holy crap. Now that's in the minutes. I mean, this judge probably just lost his judgeship and everything because he did commit a crime against you, in theory. I don't know. But they will. You need to learn things like contempt of court before you go to court. You gotta read it, because you gotta expect this guy to try and violate you. And he can't be a complainant against you at all. So contempt of court is something that you could use on him, and he actually can't use it on you because you're lacking a complainant. And if he wants to step down out of his judgeship and be the complainant, then he's going to need to find another judge to sign the warrant. Or a cop will do that. That's what cops do, is run these papers back and forth. And then they serve it.
So here, What's the Matter You has, this to say. So a previous time, this man, whose name is Kennedy, you can go ahead and call him that, was talking about swearing out warrants for cops and other arrests. I was super interested in that. Warrants was something that I was talking about, and they're not necessary.
Well,
warrants are what...
You'll probably end up wanting to use warrants because that's the document that the government uses to seize someone. So once you arrest a cop, he's probably going to resist arrest. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
right?
He's going to resist arrest, and he's going to be a douche.
His supervisor is going to collaborate with him. Let's be honest.
They're going to commit more crimes.
Yeah, but that's a dereliction of duty on his part now. So you could arrest them both. And then once the situation is over with, then you're going to put this stuff to pen, and you're going to fill out your criminal complaint. I arrested these guys. They resisted arrest. They ended up leaving without submitting to my arrest, even though it was lawful. I arrested them for this, and then you get that to a law enforcer, and in theory, he gets that to a judge. Now, a lot of times they're just going to collaborate, so you're going to have to probably bounce around, but keep a list of all these traitors, all of these collaborators. Get them all on dereliction of duty. Every single time they do that, that's a 14th Amendment equal protection violation. Equal protection under the law. So,
and when you find a sheriff or a magistrate or a judge that will sign it, everybody that's listed in all those documents, you can ruin their lives.
You can sue them, or you can put them in cages or whatever. You got to check your state law on citizen's arrest. Number one is probably read my book, because I try and put everything together that you're going to need to start getting this information accumulated for yourself. You got to check your state law on citizen's arrest. You got to check your state law on unwanted touching, or maybe assault, maybe battery, maybe disorderly conduct,
kidnapping,
common things. And then, you can check it on kidnapping if you think they're going to unlawfully arrest you, which is just without a warrant. Anytime they don't have a warrant, they don't have any rights over you. They're just a regular dude until they have a warrant. They don't determine probable cause. You can. You don't need a warrant. You don't need a judge to determine probable cause for you. You can determine probable cause for the cop's crime just because you were there and you think he committed a crime. You saw him seize you on the side of the road, or whatever.
And I'm going to keep harping on this one too. Once you start writing that criminal complaint, you got to include while armed.
Any enhancement you can. So maybe you're disabled and they're pushing you around. That's an enhancement. Armed during commission of a crime. That's an enhancement. There's some other ones. I don't know what they all are. hate crime is one
Sure,
of them.
they could.
or- I
Hate
don't
crime
know.
could be one of them. There's all kinds of state laws probably that.
Elderly abuse would be another enhancement.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if it's an old person, a kid is probably another enhancement. I'm guessing.
Yeah, there's been a few instances here recently with kids getting tickets from cops, cops trying to arrest kids.
That's disgusting.
And
They
and
can't
to-
even talk to your kid without you there.
Right.
They
that's,
can't even do it.
Yeah, that's. I think that pretty much every state law covers that. But even children have constitutional rights.
Yep.
And every time they touch a kid or they stop a kid when he's riding his bike or whatever, man, that is criminal activity. Criminal activity.
Yeah, it would be best for his dad to go into the police station and go ahead and place them under arrest. I mean, check your state laws. See what you can arrest him for. Start reading up on the laws that you can arrest for. Maybe you can only arrest for felonies. Well, then study up on your felonies. They will commit felonies against you. So it's not really, it doesn't really make that much of a difference. And even if not, you don't have to place them under arrest. You can also just file the charges.
Yeah, you should always file the charges. Always become the complainant.
I'm not
Always
sure.
become the complainant.
We're on Jackboot Thug Pig's channel. Do you have a link to my book?
No, but I can get one real quick.
He's
It's
got a
on-
link to my channel if you look at his channel. Just go to my channel and my recent videos have a link. And you can also watch my audits, which you really should. I don't do a lot of audits. I just do the top. The top. So I've got one of Social Security office where they disrupt my business. I end up arresting every single one of them, pressing charges on all of them. All of them. I got one of filming in a courtroom. Why do I get to do that and no one else can? Because I understand what a judge's order is. I understand what the requirement for a warrant is. I understand who can be a complainant against me. That type of stuff is why I'm able to go in and film in a courtroom.
And the people
Selling
that
drugs in a
cannot
park.
be, yep, the people that
Same
cannot be complainants are public servants. They can't. They have to have an injured. They have to have a member of the public as an injured complainant. This is why it's illegal for cops to solicit a trespass. They cannot create complainants because they want one. The complainant has to voluntarily become a complainant against you.
Yeah.
That's also the
That's
law,
a
man.
real. It's really indicative of the sickness that cops have, where they
Yeah.
think that they're out here to like prove you wrong and to investigate you until they get you on a crime. Like that's not how it works. Either a citizen is reporting a crime, or else the cop has no business. But it's like they show up and they get personally invested in defending the caller all of a sudden, and it's called the Just Us system. It's that any collaborator gets, higher priority over
Right.
the American,
Right.
especially a male.
People that say, well, you're so down on cops and pigs and you call them pigs, but you'll be the first person to call them when something bad happens. Not
No.
this motherfucker right here.
No, you
Not
can
this-
call the
not this
cops.
dude.
Listen, you pay their way in this life. You
That's
feed their
right.
kids. You
That's
can
right.
tell them what to do anytime you want, and you should.
Yep. But I'm not
Honestly.
going to depend on them to protect me.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
I'm going to protect
don't
myself.
worry
and-
about these people and what they say. These are all morons.
Yeah.
I mean, the American people, fuck them. Straight up, like, Jesus Christ. You want to find a more lost group of fucking individuals? I don't know where the hell you're going to find them. Maybe in the jungle or some damn thing. I
Yeah,
don't
but-
understand how people with internet can be this far behind. I really
Well,
don't.
look, the people in the jungle, they don't have these kind of encumbrances on them, man. They're living in nature.
Yeah.
Unless they got pigs that come around and murder them and steal their crops or whatever, they're outside of our system. They're living more naturally and more free than we are. But they're also they struggle for drinking water and they struggle for food. But that's part of their trade-off for being free, man. Why do you think the American Indians were so violent? So resistant of going on these reservations and giving up because they had complete freedom. Yeah,
Well,
they
see,
beat up on each
We
other
saw
over
how
hunting
it
grounds.
turned out.
Yeah, it
so-
turned out really great for them, huh? They're living on reservations and they're doing meth and they're drunk and they're on pills now. They suffer from every modern malaise that exists in America, and nobody's trying to help them. Nobody's trying to help them. But man, one of these days, those people are going to shrug that yoke off, and they're going to.
Well, let's OTVO. We did like a 5 or 6 hour video on Chili's trial, and I just need to get it clipped up and
It's
and
really
uploaded.
good. It's really good.
It's super informative, but it's going to be basically impossible for anybody to sit and actually fucking finish. But like, it's like 5-6 hours. But yeah, we're going to cover every bit of it and how it happened. And I mean, it really is a travesty no matter how you look at it. In the end, even the attorney said enough to get Chili off, but just barely, And then, yeah, it became just a personal vendetta with the judge for calling that guy a pig. It really all came down to that first 2 seconds.
Well, the prosecutor's recommendation was nothing compared to
90
what she
days.
hit him. Right.
And then,
She wanted it suspended and him to go to some kind of socialist
was
indoctrination
it
training.
suspended?
Yeah, she was calling for suspended.
Impulse control or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, right. Yeah. Some kind of socialist commie pinko faggot kind of training. Sorry, I don't care what you do with your private parts. I really don't.
No.
It's not for me to say what you do when you're alone with another consenting adult, and I have no prejudices in that area. It's just, it's an old saying from me growing up during the Cold War, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't
it's
mean
just a
gay.
phrase.
It just
Right.
means-
Yep. But I've been waiting too, to be honest. I've been
I'll try
waiting
and get
myself.
on that. I'm not
Wait-
good at stuff these days.
Well, why don't we figure out a way for you to send it over to me, and then you can work on your version, and I'll work on mine. How about that? Right? We'll meet in the middle somewhere. Just I need the files. I don't have them.
I don't know how I can even send it to you. It's like freaking 10 gigabytes or something.
Yeah. Well,
my,
we can.
My internet is not gonna.
Yeah, my
That's
internet's
like
bad.
a week-long upload or something.
Oh, my internet's really? Is it that bad?
It's pretty bad for upload.
How much? What's your upload speed? You got to be getting at least 4.
I don't know. I
4
don't know.
gigs? No, run it to test. Maybe we can talk about that some other time. Yeah, the prosecutor didn't even want to throw him in jail. She wanted it suspended, but the judge, completely ignored that recommendation. And what the person who brought the charges of obstructing, which they couldn't prove. They never did prove that. They never proved that he resisted arrest. He didn't resist arrest. I didn't see him resist arrest. Did you,
He
Kennedy?
was never under arrest. Arrest is a seizure. You need a warrant for a seizure.
Right, he was never legally under arrest. Yeah, that was not a legal arrest. It was,
Therefore,
it was
you can resist it.
it was an unprovoked attack by a public servant, is what it was. Who didn't-
Let's try and just keep that on the show because it's all there.
Okay. Yep.
They'll see it when we get it.
It'll be more interesting anyway that way.
Yeah, you'll get to watch it.
I think unless anybody else wants to jump in and talk, we got 8 people in the chat. I can't believe that nobody wants to talk. Unless somebody wants to jump in and talk, I say we're done for today.
Okay. All
It
right.
was a-
Let's
it was a
recap
good-
on a couple of points.
Okay, go ahead.
If you want rights, you're going to have to be the one that stands up and gets them. That means that you don't get pulled over and then start learning the law or ask them what crime you're committing. No. You need to know what crime they are committing. And then you need to be the complainant on them. Okay? They are going to commit some crimes against you.
Well,
It's up to you to be able to pick them out and at least file a criminal complaint on them. You can arrest them verbally if you want. You might even need to physically arrest them for something, but hopefully you don't have to get into any of that. Just do it through paperwork. Get it all on recording. Do it through email. That's what's good for just a clear, legible record that cannot be debated. It's got a date stamp. It's great for dealing with the cops or your lawyer or anybody in the government, really. You should be getting evidence. You should be either wearing body camera, or email. Getting records so that when they violate you, because that's the thing. In order for you to have rights, it's got to come from them. Like, it's going to come out of their rights. Because as of right now, they think they have the right to do anything. So if you're going to have rights, then it's going to have to chunk off a little bit of what they believe they can do, which they think they can do anything. You got to limit that, right? And
Yep,
the way you
and
do
when-
that with this is with arrests. Go ahead.
Well, you have to arrest them. You got to be the complainant in a criminal charge with damages. Like I said earlier, we have all the reason and all the tools in the Constitution to arrest, charge, and ruin these people if we choose. We can absolutely ruin them. The founders understood that righteous anger needs to have tools with it. And they understood what real repression was, because they lived under an occupation that probably was comparable to what we're living under right now, except we don't know for sure how many of them actually anyway, it doesn't matter. It's all relative. They were probably under the same kind of repression we are now, only on a smaller scale, because there was a smaller population in the colonies back then, but we are the masters. They are the servants. We need to make them understand that. And every time they get brought up on criminal charges, they're not going to forget that. They might be stupid, but they're not going to forget it. And it's going to modify their behavior down the road. They're going to question every decision that they make. And they're going to start making right decisions. And they're going to start doing their jobs properly. But unless we start doing it, unless we start charging them and getting them on the hook and making them squirm and ruining them as much as we possibly can for their crimes, it's not going to change. We have to do that. We have to do that.
They're trying to use you as a stepping stone, and really you got to do the same thing back in your defense of yourself.
Right.
You got to your sound just went out again. I can't hear you at all.
How about now? No?
Yeah,
Yes?
yeah, I can.
Okay. I don't know what's going on with this thing. I'm barely even moving. I'm like moving my head. That's it. Just a little bit. We
Okay.
have to. Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and just wrap it up, man. I think we flogged this dog enough for today. I think we.
Yeah, check out my book. I mean, it's seriously hard work to get all of this stuff into one spot where you can look at every bit of it and like start piecing it together, because that's what the problem with all these auditors is, that it's that their knowledge is so incomplete that they can't see the whole picture. And so they're just kind of out here arguing about case precedent and stuff when completely
lost.
irrelevant.
They're lost in the wilderness, man, and they don't have the skills to survive, and they just don't know it. It's just a matter of time until one of these auditors gets smoked. It's
Well, they
just a
keep
matter of
going to
time.
jail. So
Right. They keep throwing them in jail. The next step is somebody's going to
Right.
disappear. Somebody's going to disappear, and everybody's going to be like, I wonder what happened to so-and-so. Man, he had a really great channel. Well, guess what? The pigs killed him, and they buried him in a potter's field somewhere because nobody was holding them to account. Nobody was making them pay for their crimes. Nobody was pointing out, these guys are fucking criminals. We can't rely on prosecutors and cities and judges or anybody else but ourselves to bring these pigs to heel.
Well, you know
We-
what? They can't do it because there's no injured complainant when you just consent to everything, and then you just let it pass when you finally get them in your rear view.
Right, you
You
got
got to get those complaints filed. You have to be a complainant. They need to face their accuser in court. And that has to be you. So
Well, yeah, I have to disagree with you, Let's. We got the tools. We got,
we
the,
got
tools.
the tools.
We have all the tools we need, and they don't require bullets or magazines or powder. We don't have
And we
to
don't have
just-
to look 10 different places for them. Like
Right.
in these different case precedents. It's just all in one spot. The law, all in one spot, and all we got to do is read it and remember it. And then when they violate it, then you point it out. It's honestly,
It's easier than putting together a fucking model of an airplane.
oh yeah, for sure.
Man, it takes,
Sure.
all you have to do is be able to read. And if your reading comprehension is low, then you get a thesaurus and a dictionary.
No, just read it again. Read it and
Oh.
you read it again until you get it. Like, it's not that complicated.
No,
it really
it's
isn't.
The Constitution is framed in very simple terms, and that's how the law is supposed to be. That's what the law is. All this complicated stuff is like it's socialist criminal magic spells. That's all it is.
It's a
It's a
shell
re-
game.
Yeah, yeah, it's bullshit.
Look over here. Look over here.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
it's illusion. It's illusionary. And people believe it because it's easier to believe it than to resist it. When really the
Yeah.
opposite is true.
Yeah,
because
they're
in
gonna
the
keep
end,
pretending like what they're doing is legitimate. They're gonna look at you like, what in the world is he even saying? But that's just because they're incompetent. They have no clue what they're even doing. Their predecessors taught them how to get away with nonsense, and at some point, they lost track of what they were supposed to actually be doing.
yeah, they
And
got
at this
off the
point,
track.
they just believe their nonsense at this point, and that's why it's up to us now. Is because it's like literally they're not even equipped to do their job, even if
No, they're like you say, they're not even qualified to push brooms competently.
well, it doesn't take many people to hold them to account. You
No,
know,
no. I mean,
one
you just,
person per town, 5 people per medium-sized city, 20 people per metro area. Seriously, and we're talking about the end of this crap with the cops. The end of it.
the end. They don't have. Listen, those people are cowards, and they're lazy, and they're stupid. They don't know how to mount a defense. Their only defense is violence. And when you don't bring violence, they don't have any reason to bring violence. If they do it, then they're just going to be in more trouble
Right.
because people are watching now. This is the thing. There are so many millions of people that watch these auditors, and these auditors are doing a huge disservice to everybody by not
Yep.
doing it right.
It's
You know, they're-
honestly the term frauditor comes to mind.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like,
because,
dude, how are you telling all these people that something is the law that is not even a law at all? It's case
Right.
precedent. That's fraud. I mean, seriously, even if you don't know that you're committing fraud, it's like that's so bad that it is fraud. Like, you can't just be
Yep.
completely full of shit and expect to for no shit to get on you or something. Like, yeah, they are doing a major disservice, and honestly, they're getting people put in jail.
yeah, they are.
Because of
I
this.
mean, you know who comes to mind is Jason Dollarhide. Jason Dollarhide didn't know anything about standing on his own and standing on his rights. And as far as I know, he's still in fucking jail for doing nothing more than cussing at a cop and flipping him the bird. That was it.
Hmm.
They didn't have nothing else on him. But because he complied and he didn't know how to stand up and be, he's a brave person, but he didn't know how to do it properly. It doesn't matter if you're brave and you get run over by the cavalry. You have to know how to stand. If you don't stand and put your foot on that stake and point that stake right at the motherfucker that's trying to run you over, you're done. You're done, man. It's a very basic analogy, but guess what? This is going to take some bravery. These pigs are dangerous. They are. They are dangerous. It's going to take bravery, and it's
They
going to
are
take
dangerous, but they're more dangerous when you allow them to continue to believe in this.
That's right.
As
As soon as you-
want.
Yep, they're just like any kind of predator in the wild. Show weakness, your ass is dead.
Yep.
Your weakness and you're dead. You show weakness and they're going to be all over you like stink on shit. Yeah, Let says like a man in front of a tank. Well, if the man in front of the tank takes the initiative and dives under that tank, he can get inside. He can get inside with a pair of bolt cutters and they're done. They're done. There's ways to defeat anything, man, but we can do this without violence. We can do it using the law, and we ruin enough of them, and the rest of them go, oh my God, maybe we should do what we're supposed to do instead of running around like a bunch of fucking brigands on the land doing whatever we want.
At some point, it won't be optional. They're going to realize that they will get arrested if they commit a crime against us. And
Right.
So when they show up, they're going to be all sirs and yes sirs, back to how it used to be when
Yep.
we could deal with these socialists.
Yep. Yeah,
That's better.
Yeah, and you didn't get shot because you weren't wearing your seatbelt or your windows were tinted or you made an illegal turn or something. Now these pigs, they think that that they're actually occupying an enemy country, which they are
Yeah.
because they hate Americans and they hate America.
Yeah.
Always remember that. But they can be saved from themselves, right, Kennedy? We're gonna
yeah.
we're gonna save them from themselves. We don't want them dead. We want to convert them. They are potential fellow citizens, man. That they are human beings just like us. They might be stupid and they might be arrogant and they might be ultra violent, but guess what? We can change two of those things. We can change two of those things. We can't make them smarter, but we can make them less violent, and we can cure that ignorance. We can cure that. All right, listen, it was a great show. Thanks for being here, you guys, and thanks, Kennedy, man. I always enjoy doing this. I learn something every time, and it reinforces what I should know every time we have this conversation. But all right, you guys, listen, we'll do this again next week.
All right, sounds good.
And all right, so I'm gonna close the thing, but I'm gonna send you another link, Kennedy, so we can talk about a couple things. Is that okay with you?
Sure.
All right. Later, guys. Have a good day.
Thanks, guys.
Like and share, subscribe, make a comment. Thank you very much.